This poem, okay. There's one thing I really don't like, is when people say that me or anybody else is too deep. Like, that is like the most annoying thing. Especially if you're at a poetry place, like, why are you coming here? People are too deep for you. Stupid. So I wrote about it because it was annoying. Okay. I kind of have it memorized, but we know how that went the first time, so I'm gonna have my paper. Okay. It's called Glass House. They say people who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. They say people who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones, but you're throwing boulders. And I'm carrying the weight of your negative words on my shoulders because you're just not deep enough to understand that happiness isn't the only emotion that we feel, and sometimes I get frustrated, so I write. Just because you don't know what it's like to feel something a little deeper than the shallow form of sadness that you're used to, doesn't mean that I have to conform to ignorance too. I refuse to be anything like you. And still, it saddens me to know that your facade is completely see-through. And still it saddens me to know that your facade is completely see-through. You're throwing boulders that you can barely even carry on your own. So naturally, you shared your inability to empathize with weak individuals just like you, because if you did this by yourself, then the fact that you feel alone would be impossible to hide. So you use my ability to feel to mask your sorry souls behind it. That's just fine. You're welcome to use my ability to feel as often as you like. You haven't really noticed, but you've used me all along, mocking me, saying I'm too deep, when really you just envied me. The green-eyed monster sits heavily on your shoulders now. You're afraid to feel, so you dedicate your time to bringing me down, and you've done it well. Because I actually let you affect me. The idea that my work wasn't being perceived the way I wanted it to be truly upset me, but the walls came down and I could see that glass shatters quickly. Unlike cement-thick walls, glass breaks. And even without stones being thrown, there's only so much it can take. They say people who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones, but you're throwing boulders, and I don't expect you to stop. Because the green-eyed monster sits heavily on your shoulders, and this is your only form of relief. So throw your boulders. I won't budge. I'm bound to the ground like land. I might be too deep, but you're just too shallow to even have the capacity to understand. I was going to do one piece, but I don't know. I'm feeling it tonight. So thank you for coming out. Okay. So I'm going to do my favorite piece. It's called Quit.
Yes! I love that piece so much.
I thought I had to save you. Nobody cared, so I squeezed into the broken cracks that nobody cared to fix, and like clay, you molded me so easily. So eventually I fit. There was something so warm about you needing me to make things better. About you being so broken that made me feel a little more together. How it was so easy for you to cry to me. I was one of a kind to you. Maybe not. I tried so hard to be. But your words eventually weighed too heavy for me to hold. I lost my strength within you and mistakenly made you believe that you were actually bold. But you weren't. Not for a second were you ever bold. I was just so good at making you feel like you could carry the world because you became my world. And though days were darker than I had imagined myself ever choosing, you needed me. So light was something I felt was worth losing. Nobody took the time to understand you or where you came from, but I listened. I gave you a reason to stay when you were so desperate to run. I made exceptions while you became obsessed with my regressions. And you would degrade, bringing me down to a point where I felt too weak to even hate. And though you controlled me through your manipulative ways, I still felt like you were the one who needed to be saved. So I cradled your empty heart in my shaky hands. I put your happiness before my own because I could handle being hurt, as long as I wasn't alone, although being with you was more lonely than without, though it took me this long to figure that out. But I still didn't do anything crazy that girls do when they're hurt, like get a tattoo when we broke up. Because I didn't need a daily reminder to know that you fucked up. And if I allowed you to be the ink in my skin, that would only be proof that I actually let you seep in. Anyway, you wouldn't be able to handle a permanent place in me. It was apparent that I was too strong of a woman for you. That's why you were forced to make me weak. So I can understand why you did what you did. You were threatened. And though you may not have seen it then, I saved you. And eventually you'll realize that what I did, no other girl would be willing to do. See, I fit your mold just as you requested, but I rose above your tainted love and became what you never expected. I saved you because you saved me, unknowingly. You made me see that I deserve permanence, not temporary.